people who know seniors or people who someday are going to become seniors. My name is David Lapaco. I'll be your moderator and host today, but we have three co-hosts who I'd like to introduce. Today we have a special program dealing with someone. Our special guest is someone who is a health coach. And so I think that's something that anybody might be interested in. So let me introduce our co-hosts and see what they might use a health coach for. Nadia Giordana, hello, welcome to the show. What would you do with a health coach if you had one available to you?
Well, I'm really delighted to be here, and I could use a health coach in as much as I had recent spinal surgery, and it would be nice to know some of the things I should be mindful of as I get back into ordinary daily life.
Okay, interesting. Okay, thank you so much. Mike Rosberg is with us today. Welcome, Mike. And is there anything you might want to use a health coach for?
Well, I seem to eat a pretty healthy diet, except I go on streaks where I just eat one thing way too much that's not particularly healthy. Last winter it was apple pies. This winter it's chocolate ice cream, and I'd want to know how to get out of that habit.
Well, at least you have good taste in the stuff you keep eating a lot of. So congratulations on that. But I can see why you might want to work on that. And then finally, we have Rashida Jenkins. Rashida, is there something that a health coach might be able to do for you?
Yes, well, kind of similar to Michael, I love to eat. And so I need a health coach to actually prepare my meals because eating healthy takes more time than it does to not eat healthy. So take that off my plate and cook my meals for me.
All right. Well, we have someone who can probably speak to all of these things and more. Her name is Gina Feldewerd, and she has a really interesting story. I'll let her tell it because she didn't start as a health coach. She started in law enforcement. But Gina, I'll let you describe your own personal history and tell us a little bit about who you are and how you wound up in the end becoming a health coach.
First of all, thank you guys for allowing me to be a guest on your show. And my name is Gina Feldewerd. And approximately 17 years ago, I became a police officer. And in order to become a police officer, you had to have some schooling. You could do 2 to 4 years of schooling. I chose to do the 2 years. And during those 2 years, you learn communication, psychology, mathematics, things like that. And then towards the end of your schooling, you have 12 weeks of a skills program where you actually do all hands-on things. You learn how to read or how to retain people and stuff like that. And you're going to be doing your ground fighting, your shooting, things like that. Just all your practice items, and it's all hands-on. And then after that, then you are ready to go out in the community and see where you're going to go. It happened to be that I ended up applying for a job, and I was hired pretty much immediately as a correctional officer. So I spent like 11 months working up in the jail and with all the inmates. And then I was promoted onto the road as a deputy. When you're promoted to the road, you don't work normal hours. So you don't have 8 to 4:30 hours, those types of things. So with that being said, you can see that your eating habits are probably not going to be amazing, just because it depends on what you're doing. And if you get a call, there's several types of calls you could be put on, medical calls, car accidents, domestics, those types of calls where they can take hours and hours and hours. So you don't have time to eat or anything like that. So a schedule means really nothing in that profession. So after doing several years of law enforcement with the rotating, then I was promoted to a DARE officer, where I graduated 737 students a year for 5 years. And then I had kind of a normal schedule all through the school year, which was wonderful. I could definitely tell the difference in my eating. And then I would go in the summertime, I would go back to working evenings again. So it started all over where you were up till 2 o'clock in the morning and your schedule was all mixed up. So after doing 5 years or so with that, then I was working day shift after that. So that worked out good. And then I started thinking about retirement, and I'm trying to figure out how am I going to get healthier? Because in the meantime, I had gained weight and my knees were hurting, my back was hurting, all of those types of things. And my body just didn't feel right. I didn't have the energy. I wasn't sleeping the way I should have been. So I decided to take another position, which was in the courts. So that would gear me down from the high pace on the road, going lights and sirens. I wanted to gear myself down so I didn't have, PTSD and things like that when I retired. Because you can't really go from a high pace job like that into just not having nothing to do the next day. So
Yeah.
in the meantime, I was working on, I had went to the doctor after I took that position in the courts, and I was told that I had high cholesterol and they wanted to put me on medication. And I'm not a firm believer of medications in certain situations. Yes, you need that. I decided I did not want to do that. So I asked if I could have 6 months to try something on my own first.
Mhm.
I ended up talking to my daughter about it, and she said she has a friend that tried this new program and you should talk to her. She's a health coach, and that's how that started. And I ended up talking to her, and we got together, and within 5 months, I lost 50 pounds. I went back to the doctor. I got a clear bill of health, and I'm not obese on the scale anymore. And my cholesterol's not high, and never had to take medications. And I'm like, this is amazing. Like, there's so many people. And I did all of this without exercising. I tried before to exercise for weight loss, and that alone did not work. So it really is about your eating.
Mm.
So I did not do any exercise that first like 5 months or so. And then, well, after 2 months, we'll have to go back a little bit, because 2 months, I decided that I was going to help other people, because in 2 months, I already had lost 20 pounds. I was like, this is amazing. My knees don't hurt. And then as the time went on, I naturally got active without even thinking about it. I was able to ride bike, started playing pickleball. I can
Mhm.
keep up with the grandkids. It's been just amazing.
Wow.
So that's how I got into coaching and where
Well,
I
that's that's quite an inspirational story. Mike, I think you had a question for Gina?
Yes, well, I just understanding that your first occupation was police officer and the second one was health coach. Your first encounter with people must have been quite different on many occasions in those two occupations. So how are you able to adapt to, say, arresting someone to helping coach them through some personal difficulties?
It has been amazing to be able to do that, because the people that I'm actually dealing with now are super excited to get going and, better themselves and do their weight loss and stuff. And on the other spectrum, everything that I was doing was more negative stuff.
Mhm.
So to be able to transition from one to the other, I was always pretty good at being able to transition from my job to home, where I didn't bring my stuff home with me. And I worked on that, and I read books and stuff to learn how to do that, because I didn't want to be that person who, once you retired, you had all these, law enforcement's not a normal job. Like, people don't really know what happens before 8 o'clock in the morning. And, there's just so many things. So in order to keep your mind, you have to do a little bit extra to keep yourself
Mhm.
better.
I have a question. You were talking about, or on the blurb that I read about you, that where you help people gain confidence and reach their goals. And I understand that reaching the goals are, that's all kind of an individual thing, but I would think gaining confidence, which is not that often spoken of that I've heard, is maybe a little bit more of a universal thing, but extremely important. Can you say a little bit about how you get someone who is not certain about reaching their goals to have that extra confidence that they might need?
So there are several steps that I do to keep people motivated, confident, all those things. So basically, I start out with you, and I want to worry about everything. I don't want you to have to worry about nothing. I want you to focus on healthy eating. So I will take everything else. So if there's anything that you don't understand or anything like that, I don't want you to have to think about it. You would just come to me. So once you start doing the program and you do lose weight fast, because most of the time people are not eating enough, so their body's always in starvation. So it stores the food, and that's what happens. People think not eating is better than eating. Well, it really isn't. On this program, you're eating 6 times a day. So it feels like you're always eating. And so within a month, you can lose like 10 to 12 pounds, which will gain people's confidence, just goes skyrocket right away, because they're just like, oh my gosh, first time I tried this and it actually works. I probably tried 10 other programs and they never worked. And so just by, and then every Sunday, I send out messages and have you take a picture of your feet on the scale, so I keep you accountable for what you're doing. And if you have issues, we talk about all the issues. There's Zoom meetings. It's incredible. It's a huge family of just amazingness.
Well, Gina, I'm thinking that probably when you talk about diet, most of the ones that I've heard of or know about, the big culprit is usually carbohydrates. And I'm guessing that whatever you advocate or do with your clients is similar, in that they can eat a lot, but it's the carbs that really are the big problem. Would that be right or not?
Well, that's partially right. Carbs, proteins, fats, condiments, you have to have a balance. If you don't have a balance, you'll crave things. I don't know if you've noticed, but if you wake up in the morning and you have a donut and coffee, the rest of the day, you always feel like you're wanting something else. If you have a balance of food, like you're going to have your proteins, your vegetables, condiment, and healthy fat in one day, you won't have that where you're going to be, craving so much stuff. And the carbohydrates, that is a big deal, but again, you just have to have that balance.
I heard you speak about relationships. What kind of concepts did you learn as a police officer that helps you build relationships now with people?
So I'm just really good at going out and talk to people. I can walk out the door and talk to a stranger. Obviously, that came from my police training. I didn't have that kind of confidence at first, but it's amazing as a police officer, all the questions you get asked. I mean, I've had to do plumbing. I've had to do water leaks. I've had to do all kinds of things. When you go to someone's house and they don't know what to do, you're always the strong person, no matter what. So no matter what situation you're in, you're the strong person. It doesn't matter if it's something that hit home or what happened, anything like that. So building relationships, it's just kind of a natural for me. I have a passion for helping people. So it's kind of a natural thing for me. I didn't have really much struggles with building relationships. And that really helped as far as, your hands-on and how you dealt with the people on. I mean, most of the time people would just walk in the back of my squad car. I never really had to be, I never treated anybody, where it would be, they would feel like they were less than me ever. So that definitely made a difference in my career all the way around. And again, that's, people trust me because of that reason too, relationship stuff.
When it comes to helping people lose weight, do you have a sort of preset diet in mind that you try to convince people to follow? Or do you try to help them develop their own wellness vision, I understand it may be called, where they come to understand things on their own and then develop a diet that works for them?
So basically, we have several plans and we start you out on a plan. And then once you're on that plan, that builds all of your habits. So that's why if there's like cooking and all that stuff, I'll tell you exactly what you're going to cook and how you're going to make it and all that stuff. So it's simple. So you want to change your mindset because this is not a diet. This is a lifestyle change. You don't want to, a lot of times diets, people go up and down and you don't want that. You just want to have that continuous where you know what to do. I can still go to McDonald's, I can still go wherever, but you just know what to order and what not to order. Because when you start on this plan, you're going to get all your you're going to get 5 meals and one you're going to have to prepare yourself. And then that's how you start the whole process of getting the mindset so you're eating what you have at home.
Am I right in thinking that it sounds like your style of coaching would be particularly good for people who are either busy, have a very busy, almost out of control life, where they don't really want to stop, take the time to do all this planning? Sounds like you're helping them by putting a lot of the planning in place. And that's also part of the coaching, is to guide them so that they don't have to start from zero.
Right. There's all kinds of plans out there, but nobody knows what you're supposed to actually eat. They tell you to take this pill every 2 hours and, you don't get the details. So with this, we have programs that are like on the go programs. So it's bars and shakes and things like that, where you can eat them in a busy situation. So that definitely helped me on the end of my policing, because I was doing this stuff and I was able to eat a bar as I was on my way to a call. It only took me 2 minutes to eat the bar. And then I already had my nutrition in, and it made a huge, huge difference in just how you felt during the day. You ended up having more energy and
Yeah. So
yeah, sleeping in.
we've talked a lot about diet and weight loss issues. What other kinds of issues and challenges do you coach people about, that things they might face that are not weight loss issues, but other kinds of issues?
You know what? I'm pretty well rounded. I end up coaching people, and then we just end up being friends, and then they ask me anything, personal things that only I know and other people don't know, and it just ends up being a Go Ask Gina session.
I heard you talk about lifestyle and consistency. That's a big part of any type of change. And so how long do you follow these people that you've helped? Is this kind of like you said, you built a friendship and so you kind of follow them throughout their journey? Or is it like you get 6 weeks and then that's it? No more Gina.
Nope. As long as you're willing to have phone calls with me and communicate back and forth with me over messaging and things like that, I'll stick with you forever. So it just depends on. Sometimes people, get discouraged and they don't contact me. Well, then I kind of call them and leave them messages and kind of annoy them until they get sick of it. And then they're like, okay, I fell off program. And I'm like, that's fine. People do it all the time. They say you fail 7 times before you succeed. So it's not a big deal. If you fall off today, start right back up tomorrow. It's amazing how it works. So
I understand, Gina, that you are a grandmother, but you're not yet a senior citizen, obviously. But you are retired from the police force, so a lot of these elements of retirement are in your life. This new career it would seem to me, and tell me what you think about it, but it does seem like something that you can adapt and adjust as you go forward, and it's something that you can do for a long time to come.
Yes, and it's very, very flexible, and I just love it. It's so exciting to have someone start the program, and at the end of the week at weigh-in day, I'm sending them messages that I'm so excited, and they'll be like, "Oh, I lost 5 pounds this week. I can't believe it." And they're just the excitement, and I can do it from anywhere, and I'll be able to do it forever just because I love it.
So Gina, you've talked about changing a lifestyle, which is the conventional wisdom about this. In your case, what are some things that are now part of your lifestyle that you either always do or never again will do that are now permanently part of your behavior as a result of the what you went through?
So definitely the whole eating thing. There's just so many simple things. If you don't think about it as being on a weight loss program, you really do eat way better than you think you do. You just have to get your timing and all that stuff down in order to do that. I would just never go back to totally going out to eat every day, things like that.
Mhm.
And
There's
not getting my
that you
sleep.
never eat again or hardly ever eat?
Yeah, I hardly ever eat bread stuff anymore.
Mhm.
And I used to be a bread lover. Like when I was younger, we baked caramel rolls and homemade bread every single Saturday, and we had a pound of butter with it.
Sounds great.
So, yeah, so I like you said, the carbohydrates, I stay away from the bread the most. I mean, you can still go to McDonald's, order a burger, and just eat the burger. I mean, and the pickles, so it works great.
Okay, I understand that as part of your treatment with people, you need to develop a strong, trusting relationship. Can that relationship ever become too strong to the point where it may interrupt proper treatment?
No, I don't think so. No, you just wouldn't be able to.
All right.
Nope.
Other questions from our panelists?
Well, I would ask one. You are a certified licensed person, as I understand it. What kind of relationship do health coaches have with the medical community in general? You know, hospitals, doctors, things like that.
So I am an independent health coach, which means that I have access to staff that takes care of all the medical stuff for me. So there's people that have all kinds of illnesses that by using this program, once you lose your weight, it's amazing how many of your health issues will go away.
Yes.
So a majority of your health issues come from your lifestyle of eating, unfortunately.
Yes.
I think it's true, and you can comment on this, that I have lost a great deal of weight like you did a few years back. I'm going on 14, 15, 16 years now. And one thing, and I'm not as good at it as I was early on when I was really focused, but would you say it's true that once you develop those good habits, you never really forget them completely, and it's never quite so hard to go back to it? And the new year is a perfect time every year for me to go back to it and do a refresher in my mind and get back that balance and refresh those good habits that I used to have.
Right. You can definitely go back and start over. You want to do that reset. And being a coach, that was a part of the reason why I became a coach as well, is the accountability. because now I have a standard to hold. You know, if I gain 30 pounds, all my clients are going to see in seconds that I gained 30 pounds. So, and I'm constantly telling them, don't worry about it. Just do a restart tomorrow. Let's go back to drinking our 64 ounces of water and eating 6 times a day, and make sure you're weighing out your lean and green meal right now. And then eventually you transition off and you add stuff in. So, yeah.
Do you have any clients where it was kind of a jaw-dropping, amazing story that you'll never forget that person because of what they accomplished with you?
Yeah,
So-
I actually have a doctor that has, it's hard for me to say this word, fibro,
Myalgia.
yes, myalgia, exactly. So she had that and had problems with that her whole life. And she went on my program for 2 months and she's like, I cannot believe it. I don't have any pain anymore. She went off her medication. Unbelievable. So it's just amazing. And I've known her for like 30 years and we used to hang out way back when, and then we disconnected for 20 some years. So it's been amazing. There's several of my clients, I can honestly say I have well over, 50 and at this point, and so far there's only one of them that really stopped because they didn't lose weight. But I mean, you can only, promote it so much, and then you have to do the rest. So I can do a majority of things for you, pretty much everything. Besides, I can't do the actual consistency part. You have to be able to do that yourself.
I was just going to say, it seems amazing the work that you put in, Gina, that you've been able to transform your life and so many others' lives through just your own experiences. I think a lot of us have had experiences in life that we don't think can help others. And so it's a blessing that you were able to take your experiences to bless others. So thank you.
Oh, thank you.
Well, Gina, you have been an inspiration. You certainly got me inspired to watch what I'm doing and change my lifestyle. And Nadia, Mike, and Rashida, very nice to have you aboard today. I think we are now out of time, but again, I'm so happy, Gina, that you were here. Thank you for your contributions. And I hope you're an inspiration for not only the panelists, but for anybody who's been watching today. And so with that, I think it's time for us to part ways and say, join us next time for another episode of our show, Generations.